Hey everyone, what is up and welcome back to the Lifestyle Lifters show. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Nigel O'Brien and Mike Stevens. Starting out with Nigel O'Brien, you might remember Nigel was back on episode 35 and Nigel is an amateur boxer, a personal trainer and an online fitness coach. And he is joined today by Mike Stevens, who's site manager from Tipperary, living in Oz the last 5 years. And these two lads have just recently run a complete Ironman. So today we want to talk all things about that Ironman. Lads, welcome to the show.
Thanks
Thanks,
for having
Adrian.
us. Thank you.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. I mean, let's get into it straight away. What was the reason behind you actually wanting to run an Ironman? Did something click? Was it always a goal of yours? Where did that actually stem from?
Yeah, so basically we were doing our own training individually, and pretty much I done a triathlon towards the end of last year of myself. I was doing some triathlon training with my twin brother, and he left Sydney, then went back to Ireland. And I remember I was speaking with Nigel back to a few months before that about doing some triathlon training. So when the twin brother left, I thought it'd be a good time to text Nigel and say, had he any interest doing any triathlons? And he was like, yeah, definitely. And we just basically took off from there, then started the training together and went straight in and booked the Ironman.
And tell me this, Mike, just off the back of that, do you think it would have been possible or at least much more challenging had you decided that you were just going to do this on your own? Is having like a partner or someone to do it with, did that make
Absolutely.
yeah.
100%, absolutely massive difference, because even we're on a training program there. It's called Training Peaks, and we have our same training schedule every single day. So it's good. We check in with each other. How was your run today? How was your swim today? Whatever it may be. And on the weekends, then we get a swim, a bike, and a run in together. And we get one other session in during the week as well as that, and just having each other to even text during the day, how did whatever run go, and then we have an event, whatever we're doing then the weekends, and just train together is absolutely brilliant. It's great
Yeah.
having the other guy. Brilliant.
Yeah. Just that external accountability or some form of accountability is what you're saying. And
Yeah.
um obviously then the preparation for it. Can we talk it through that? Like, so if you're to rewind the clock now, how long in advance did you decide that you needed to actually train and prepare for the Ironman?
So it was like 6 months before we decided to do an Ironman. Mike gave me a message, would I be interested in doing triathlon? And obviously I text back then with the extreme version with Ironman. So yeah, I think it was 6 months. But then we had a month off. He went home for Christmas. So we had a month off. So I reckon 5 months all up to train from like zero to Ironman. I wouldn't recommend that. I
Well,
recommend
you're
someone do the
now
year.
to
Do
be
it a bit more
fair,
now.
yeah, well, to be fair though, Nigel and Mike's definition of zero is not where most people's zero is.
Yeah.
Maybe just because these guys are training anyways, you're athletes anyways. It's just it's a different style of training. So 6 months. What was the actual date of the Ironman, first of all?
It was May 7th
Seven
of this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you would have decided this what last November 2022, just before the
Yeah,
Christmas.
yeah, September, October, I think it was when we actually booked the event. And
Gotcha.
then we kind of just started our training when we booked the event. I think most other people would
Ah,
have at least a couple of months training done, but we booked and said, so Nigel, literally, I was doing swimming, to be fair, probably for nearly a year before that. Nigel was just starting to learn how to swim after booking the Ironman. So it was massive just to get into all that, just get the training going. And I went back home then at Christmas, had a little break, and then it was just full steam ahead then from January onwards then, and we knew we had,
gotcha.
yeah, about 5 6 months.
And for everyone listening, any goal you have there, the lads, success leaves clues. You book the event first, even if you feel you're not ready, and your mind, your body will find a way to actually get ready. I
Absolutely.
absolutely
We
love it.
find it absolutely unbelievable, just so motivating to book an event, and then you're going to push yourself then. You know, whether it's a half marathon, whatever it is, 10K run, you're just going to push yourself in because you feel the event is booked every day, you know, or whatever your training schedule is, you need to get out and do that. It's a good way of motivating yourself, I find anyway. Really good. It works for me anyway.
And just before we dive into the specific training that you were doing, just remind everyone, for anyone listening, what exactly is involved in completing a full Ironman?
Yeah, so the training schedule is pretty full on. So you can be doing 3 swims, 3 runs, 3 cycles a
But
week.
just for the
Oh,
event
the
itself,
swim,
what's the event
I
itself?
get you. It's 3.8 kilometer swim, 180 kilometers on the bike, and then you finish off with a marathon then to run with. So you're 42.2K run then to finish off with. So it's a pretty long
Wow.
day.
So a 3.8 kilometer swim. What's the bike? It's 180.
180.
180
Yeah.
bike so 180 bike. Just imagine this now, a 3.8K swim, a 180 bike, and a
And
42
then
point.
Yeah, so after we were at that stage with the swim and the bike, we were probably 6.5, 7.5. We were probably 7 hours 45, something like that, already going. And then we had to face into marathon after being already on the go for nearly 8 hours.
Oh
After
my
100,
God.
after 108K in the bike, after 108K in the bike, you're actually looking forward to the marathon.
Yes. I still
Ah,
remember that. I remember that with
insane.
maybe 30 or 40 kilometers left to go, and Nigel turned around and he goes to me, I've never looked forward to doing a marathon so much in my life just to get off of this
Just to get on
bike.
you. Oh my God. Okay, I want to go in there, but first of all, let's rewind the clock. So we'll say after the 6 months preparation, what did a typical week of training look like for you guys?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, it was like the 3 runs, 3 swims, 3 cycles, and then you try and fit in your strength and conditioning in with that as well. And then you have your physio. So it's full on all day, every
Absolutely
day, just
non-stop.
training, yeah. But then some weeks, like you'll have your 3 swims planned, you have your 3 runs planned, your 3 cycles planned. But then, like, because we did it in 5 months, just injuries comes. You're constantly changing your workouts every week. You might do 2 swims, 4 runs, 2 cycles, and switching around all the time.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's just
Yeah.
so many injuries coming with all this higher training. For me, especially that running, there was one at least one long run a week where we were getting in, like there were zone 2 runs up to 2.5 hour runs, and just trying to get that in once every week with a speed run as well, separate from that. Just the injuries I was getting from that alone, and then
Yeah.
straight onto the bike with fatigue muscles, it was just injury after injury. So, like Nigel said, then we just had to keep adjusting the program to suit these injuries.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're doing three, and three in a given week, and then how many strength training were you doing typically?
I was getting in 2 every single week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Two
Yeah.
sessions a week on the strength. And then there's a physio session every single week since Christmas, physio session once a week as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll just say first of all the more like obviously intensive, like the physio will be more for the recovery side, but on the training side, the physicality side, you're doing 10 to 11 specific exercise sessions inside 7 days. So obviously some days you have to double up your sessions. On those days you
Yeah.
doubled up, what would a double up day look like versus a single training day
So
look like?
yeah, so for me actually, because we're still doing this training, it's as if nothing trained. We've an Ironman 70.3 in a couple of months. We get to that, but even yesterday morning for me, I had the alarm set for 10 to 4. Yesterday morning, got up, down into the garage, had my bike set up on the trainer, got a 1 hour speed session done on the bike, and then yesterday evening, then I went to work, done my day's work, and then straight to the swimming pool then and clocked up 2.6 kilometer swim then in the evening. So have to make it work that way a little bit too. Up at 3:30 in the morning, get that exercise done, go to work and back home then and do something in the evening. So it can be very full on.
And so obviously recovery is huge with this as well. Like Mike, just for you then, how many hours sleep are you averaging a night?
Yeah, so that's where I feel like the injuries were probably getting to me a little bit more because of the lack of sleep. I try to get into bed for 9 p.m. every evening, which for you back home, I know that's very, very early. But over here in Sydney, it's a lot different. It's in bed early, up very early, and
Yeah.
just to try and even get 7 hours sleep, I'd have to be in bed at 9 to be up at 4. And I was
Yeah.
on both sides. I was going to bed a little later than 9, and I was up earlier than 4. So most nights I was probably down to 6 hours sleep, and I was feeling it sometimes where I was lucky enough with all the training full of energy in work, but I noticed injuries had been hard to shake off, and I found I was getting injuries quite easily, and I kind of put it down to some of that as well. I think the lack of sleep wasn't
Of
helping that
course.
either.
Yeah, for sure. for sure. And just on the injury note there, I guess would it be fair to say if all the three modalities, the swim, the cycle, and the running is probably the most taxing on the body there?
Definitely,
Or would you say
100%.
different?
Yeah, for me it's the bike. I can run, swim, no problem. But I get real glute problems on the bike. Like my upper glute
Really?
just kills.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I can't especially on my right side, I can't straighten out my right leg for like a couple of days after. So then I'm dealing with that on the run. You know, it's just
Carrying into
it just gets so
especially
tight.
being on the aero bars
Gotcha.
bent over in that punch position there, there's
Yes.
a lot of pulling on the back. Yeah, and
Run is fine for me.
sorry, for me then it's the running is definitely, I feel like all of my injuries, I'm blaming running for everything regardless. But
Yeah.
no, I do think the running has given me most of my injuries. Yeah, I definitely have. Probably all my
Gotcha.
injuries.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Yeah, no, I just know like when you said there 8 hours of activity and then running into a marathon. I ran a marathon and that was the longest I've ever ran. And like, wow, that was a freaking workout in itself. So I couldn't imagine having done 8 hours prior to that and then going on to that. That is absolutely insane. Tell me this though. Of the three modalities, the swim, the cycle, and the run, which one needed the most practice and which one do you feel needed like the least amount?
For me, the most practice I think would have been the running because I was very fit years ago. I done boxing myself back home. I was very fit, done a lot of running, but then I left it for years. I came over to Sydney. I was doing a lot of weight training. I was still doing some cycling, but hadn't done any running in a long time. So for me, just getting back into the run and getting going, and I know it's probably because of that too, I was getting so many injuries because I hadn't ran in so long. So I kind of had to start from scratch with the running and build up on that gradually, not to get any extra injuries. So for me, definitely the running would have been the toughest, but the swimming then would have been the other way. Then would have been the easiest for me, having to put in the least effort. Because probably the last year before we even booked that Ironman, I had been doing swimming. I took up swimming. I wasn't a year before that. I hadn't swam at all, but I got really into it then, and I had the swimming. For me, anyway, I felt like I had it
You had
mastered
it
as
to
good
a
as where I
T.
wanted to be. So when we had it booked, I nearly felt like swimming was good. I just stayed tipping away, and I was already kind of where I wanted to be. Obviously, there's room for improvement, but well, I was
Yeah.
pretty happy where I was with it, so I could focus on the other two a lot more. Where I was happy with the swimming.
And you spoke about obviously recovery being a huge part of this. What were some of those recovery methods that you would have implemented to make sure the body is able to keep going the next day?
So obviously, like Mike said earlier on, the physio once a week, and then basically every day on a foam roller, like rolling out our legs, rolling out our back, rolling out our lats from swimming. So we do a cycle and we have a foam rollers with us. So straight off the bike, foam roll. We do a run, same thing again, straight off the run, foam roll again.
Foam roll, basically. And it was actually, I think they're gone pretty big back home as well. They call it over here the recovery rooms. They're called over here. So we have like the compression boots, them Normatec boots. We go in
Yes.
and we do our hot and cold therapy as well. We do our ice baths. So we get our ice baths in probably once a week, and we're getting over to them the recovery rooms as well. They're just over the road from us there, and we're getting in there probably every second week, just getting the compression boots on for half an hour, and in and out of the hot and cold therapy as well, which we found were pretty good as well.
Wow, yeah. Like it seems like it's a full-time job effectively training for the
Oh,
Ironman.
it's non-stop.
Yeah, but between like the long runs, between the foam roll and the recovery, your strength sessions, tell me were your strength sessions then were they probably just more full body based as opposed to, training specific body parts?
It was more lower body based.
Okay.
So like yeah, so you were doing your like heavy box squats, then you're doing your Bulgarians, your single leg stuff, it's all kind of like based around that, just to keep yourself strong on the bike, but also injury free as well. And then upper body, we didn't train much upper body at all.
Being honest, I don't know upper body whatsoever. I didn't have time to do the upper body. Like I said, I was pretty happy where I was with the swimming, and I just didn't have time to be doing upper body. I said, right, legs is where I need to improve on a lot and do like calf raises as well, just to help out
Yeah.
with injuries and that, strengthen down below because I had some injuries down that area, needs to be working on all legs basically. Everything was just from the waist down.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Unbelievable. Yeah. And so,
Couldn't
so
blame us, our
challenging. Well,
yeah.
this obviously you spoke about some methods of recovery, but as people and listeners know, we're always preaching about the importance of nutrition and sleep, which we spoke about earlier. So how many calories roughly were you eating a day then?
I was eating 4,500 calories a day. Probably around 400 grams of that was carbs then, I think. And then the rest is just protein, fats. So it's a lot.
Unreal. And being honest, I don't track my food at all, so I have no idea. I just eat like a horse whenever I'm hungry. I couldn't tell you how much I take in. It seems to work for me, so I leave it alone.
Well, I'll let Nigel answer this one. So if you're having
Yes.
4,500 calories a day, what would
At
a
least.
typical so training for the Ironman, 4.5 to 5,000 calories a day. What would a typical day's eating look like for you from start to finish?
So in the morning, I get up first thing and have 80 grams of oats with a big spoon of peanut butter, and I'll actually cook granola on top of that as well.
Love the
And
granola.
a scoop of protein in that. And then I come home and have 4 eggs, 200 grams of chicken, 4 slices of toast, avocado. Then later on that day, I'll have chicken again or beef. I'll have 2 beef burgers, homemade beef burgers with the buns on, big massive roll type buns. I'll have 500 grams of spuds with that, big load of veg, and then
And then this just keeps going.
and then after that, just before my runs and stuff, I'd have a big bowl of fruit as well, like a full, big, massive bowl of fruit. And then in the evening times, I'd probably have like English muffins with peanut butter and a cup of tea. So it's a lot.
Wow,
One good thing with all the training, you can just eat like a horse.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Because I assume you didn't really gain much weight then.
Lots
With
of it.
Lots
lots
of
a
it.
lot
I
of weight.
even see, I went back home to Ireland there for 4 weeks at Christmas time. The twin brother had his wedding and done a good bit of partying, you know, yourself eating. And I was up 6 kilos when I got back to Sydney. I was delighted. I said, I'll try and hold this now as much as I can. Within the month, it was gone off me straight away. I couldn't. I felt to me, I actually looked a little bit better if I had that little bit exercise, but I couldn't hold it. It was just gone again straight away.
Yeah. Here's the danger though with that, and this is where I know you won't fall, but where a lot of people fall down is even retired athletes or former athletes or former marathon runners. They stop the activity, but they continue eating like they did as if they were training for it. And that is why then they're wondering, why did I gain all of this weight? So just a word of warning, match your calorie intake to your energy output, and that should determine how many calories you're eating every day. Let's talk about the
Yeah.
mindset, and Ironman Day itself. Like, a lot of it obviously is physically, but can you talk about, did you do any like mental preparation for it just to get the mind ready before the event, or was it just kind of you got your confidence from all the training that you did and that was enough preparation for you?
Yeah, being honest, that was enough for us that way. In regards to mindset, we were all just like I was saying, bouncing off each other, messing over back. We were very confident how our training was going, and it's actually enough for us,
Yeah.
wasn't it? It was, yeah.
Like the week of it, we're a bit nervous, but more like nervous with anticipation more than anything. Like,
Good nerves, yeah.
yeah. Like we wanted to get going. We wanted to, like when it was the race on a Sunday and it was Monday, we're like counting down every hour, like come
Yeah,
on, waiting
just
for it.
get us there, get
And
us
then
there.
the night before, say nerves, we didn't really sleep much the night before. Say every hour waking up thinking about the swim, thinking of the bike. But then that morning before the swim, both of us were just like, just get us in the water. We're ready to go.
Yeah, even with that lack of sleep, like we both slept very little.
Yeah.
And just with the adrenaline, I think when the
Yes.
alarm got up, I just couldn't wait to get up and actually get going. The excitement was through the roof, to be fair, yeah.
The alarm rang for 1 second.
Yeah, just waiting to press ding.
And so talk us through the event. So let's start out. So it's Ironman Day. Talk us through the event from start to finish.
Yeah, so we started off anyway with the swim. Everybody just waiting there outside where the swim kicks off. And off you go. We just do like it was a rolling start in our pairs. You just in twos, everybody just kicks off. And really good actually. For me, the swim was most enjoyable. I was around an hour 10 doing the swim. Very happy with that. And halfway through, they have like a little weir that you actually they have little stairs that you have to walk up, climb over, and back down, and you go up probably another 700 meters, come back down, and you climb back over the weir again. So it's nice just to break up that. You walk up a little stairs, have a look around, back down into water, off you go again. So then we were straight into T1.
Sorry,
where we
did you do this exactly together, or was it,
The
if
swim.
Mike went ahead or Nigel went ahead, we'll just try to keep with each other as close as possible? But or did you decide in advance, look, if one of us is slacking, don't wait for me and just keep going? Or what was your
We had it decided before, so obviously with the swim we can't see each other. So in T1, which is transition one, Mikey waited for me after swim because he'd be faster than me at swimming. So we waited, changed, and then took off the bike together, and we stuck with each other from the bike the whole way to the end of the marathon, to the end of the Ironman.
Yeah, it was nice to have each other side by side. For the bike, you have to keep a minimum of 12 meters apart. Any closer than that, you can get penalized. So we just kept that distance, and every so often, in one that can come up past the other guy out, quick little chat, and then we were just rotating like that, where you could have a little check in. How are you feeling? And then off you go again. So yeah, then basically, came out of T1 and had some nutrition there ready to go. We had the jam sandwich actually was there, wasn't it? The jam sandwich, absolutely the best of the whole lot. Had the jam sandwich there, and just dried our feet, got the socks, shoes on, and straight out from T1 then onto the bike, and off we went then on the bike. So how long were we ended up on the bike? 6 hours 40, 6:40.
Wow.
We were then on the bike, like we're saying, then just checking in with each other, in and out, straight back into T2 then, and off with our shoes, helmet, back on with our running gear, and we had our gels. We actually on the bike then as well, back to the nutrition side, we had our gels on us in the bottles that we could be drinking the gels as we go, and they were really good, to be fair. They had little nutrition stations probably every 20k or so.
Yeah, I think it was
so it's like they had nutrition stations there, so they had bottles with electrolytes in them, just water. They had little bananas, there were little solids as well, like little cereal bars or cookies. You could have a quick stop in, grab something and go again. So that was brilliant, just to keep the fuel into us while we were going, that we didn't have to have everything on us on the bike, at least if you ran out of water or electrolytes, you had something there.
Sure. It was 6 hours out on the bike there. Did you run into any injuries, any trouble, any kind of little nagging?
Yeah, on the bike. Yeah, not that I ran into trouble, but so you do a 180k north or 140k north loop, and then you do a 40k south loop to finish. And we flew the first 140k, flew it like it was nothing. And then the last 40k, they left all the hills. So you had to finish your last 40k in all the hills. And I'll never forget it. We got through all the hill part, and then there was like a 10-minute straight before you have to loop back around and do all the hills again. On a 10-minute straight, I just said to myself, and I was kind of on my own, Mikey pulled away a bit for just like 2 minutes ahead as all. I remember saying out loud to myself, I was, what the fuck am I doing this for? Out loud to myself. And but I was gonna then I got over that and then got back up to Mikey, and then we finished the rest of it together. But yeah, that last 40k in the bike was
tough. They actually minded the worst till the end. All the hills were on the end.
So they tactically laid out the course that, right, if these are going to complete this Ironman, they're going to fricking earn it.
As if the legs weren't bad enough, after being on the bike that long, the hills were at the end, and then straight onto the run, the run then was quite tough. We started off really good, actually. I still remember we had a little giggle at each other. We were at a 4:50 pace. We're actually laughing, and we felt really good. But we were laughing at each other, saying, "Gee, we actually need to drop back a bit, because we wouldn't have sustained that kind of pace."
We weren't laughing for long.
We weren't laughing for long.
450 kilometers pace. Solid.
Yes.
So wait, the swim now, the swim was roughly what, an hour and
an hour 10 I was doing the swim.
Hour 20 for me, I think.
And so an hour 20 the swim, the cycle was 6 hours and what?
40.
6 hours 40. So you're 8 hours bang on the money there, and you're facing into a marathon now. How are you feeling after 8 hours?
So after it, honestly, feeling very positive. And before the run actually kicked off, I actually felt really good. In T2, got changed, ready to go. And for the first kilometer, being honest, felt absolutely great. Feet felt really light. My feet needed to pull back the pace a bit, and that changed then very fast. I remember for me, 3 kilometers in, the fatigue just set in. I found my heart rate was very, very low, but I felt the fatigue just then starting to lift my legs was starting to become a drag. And I remember looking at the distance, I was like, oh God, I still have nearly 40 kilometers. Like it was literally 39 kilometers left to go. And it's like, my legs are very tired, very, very tired. My hamstring started tightening up very early on as well, which is just everything then quite early was a little bit of almost a struggle, I suppose. It was getting tough. The fatigue set in quite early.
What goes through your mind when you effectively,
Oh, would
let's
we
be
give
real
up?
here.
All the time I was kind of thinking, geez, will we
Yeah.
just stop? Will we stop? And on the course, there was quite a few people that actually were just walking. Some people probably walked the full marathon. Like just people
collapsed.
Yeah, collapsed. So, like we finished, what was it, around 8 that evening, wasn't it?
Finished. We set up in the swim at 7:30 and got over the line then at 8:29.
Yeah, there we go, 8:29. So at midnight, I think it was around midnight, there were still people coming in over the line, or very close to midnight. There's so that we seen a lot of people just walking. So while you're doing that run and you feel so tired yourself and seeing people walking, it was on my mind quite a bit. It was like, we just stop even for 5 minutes and walk. Will we stop? It's going through the mind all the time.
And did you stop or did you keep going?
So to be fair, the only time we stopped was for the nutrition. So
Yeah.
they had 3 nutrition stations around the track. It was a 10K loop, just over 10K loop that we done 4 times. And they had 3 nutrition stations around that loop.
Yeah.
So twice then on every lap we'd stop and we'd get some electrolytes into us, and we get some solids. They had some jellies, they had some cookies, bananas, and literally just while we were eating those, having a drink and eating those, we were walking. So we might stop for twice we'd stop on the lap. We might stop for a minute, maybe 2 minutes, just to eat, and then we take off again, and we look forward to the next station again when we could stop for a little bit to eat.
I was just gonna say though, I like that idea because anytime I do runs as well, I always try to break it down into, so you could have potentially broke that down into, okay, let's not even think about the 40K. Let's just
Exactly.
get to the next stop, which is 3 or 4K away, and that's our next target. So like at least within every hour you have like 2 things to look forward to. That was obviously at least some way to get over the line. You have to talk to yourself positively, because if you just think of the end there and how far you have to go, I mean, everyone's just going to give up. I really like that approach. And did you find then that obviously the nutrition was helpful and obviously required then just to keep you fueled to stay going right to the end?
Yeah, definitely. Without the nutrition, even all those gels, everything, there's no way you do it without nutrition. They say in triathlon, like you have your 3 disciplines like swimming, running, and cycling, and then nutrition is the 4th discipline. So nutrition is actually part of your race. If you're not like we actually have added up how many carbs per hour we need. We've 90 grams of carbs per hour. So like I made a big list of everything we eat, what times, what goes where before the race. So we check the watch. Okay, we're an hour gone. Need to take a gel. This amount of gone. Need to have electrolytes. Everything is.
It's every bit as important as 100%. It was very important.
So we're not just winging it. We're not just winging it for like the stations. We're stopping at stations. Like we look at the clock. Okay, we need to stop at a nutrition station, eat some jellies, have electrolytes, and go again. Wait for the next hour to come. 90 grams of carbs again. Keep us going.
Wow.
Yeah. So for me, it was brilliant to have Nigel. Yeah, sorry, to have Nigel that had all of that experience with all of the nutrition. That was absolutely brilliant for me. He just handed me basically the plan, stick to this, and I was like, it worked perfect.
Yeah, that's over. So you would have had over 4,000 calories, during the event. Well over 4,000 calories during the event.
Yeah, it's 6,500, I think.
Wow. Yeah, 6.5. And so with this though, was there any element of the stuff that you could prepare and have in advance? I know you mentioned the sandwiches, but for the run and that, did you just have to decide that we'll just have to take whatever's kind of an offer and make our 90 grams up out of that?
Yeah, pretty much. We had our little 30-gram gels on us on the back of the tricycle. So we were taking them kind of every half an hour was the aim to take them, but we kind of got sick of them, being honest. The gels, we were after drinking so much on the bike. I had a few extra on the run than what Nigel had. I stomached them for a little bit longer, but after taking so much of the gels on the bike, kind of got a little bit sick of them towards the run. But yes, when it came to the nutrition stations, then whatever was kind of there, you were grateful for. But being honest, anything tasted good at that stage. Anything.
100%. And tell us, so how long did it take you to complete the marathon after already 8 hours of work?
At 4.5 hours. We had planned to get done in 3.5 hours. And like Mike said, in the first 3K, we were on pace, but then the legs just gave up. So we said we're going to ease back and just finish it better than.
Yeah. At that stage, we knew probably within 20 minutes being into the run that right now we're not sticking to paces anymore. We're coming out with this alive.
Just make the goal to
just a survival game, basically.
4.5 hours though is a really, really solid marathon time. But then when you add up 8 hours of activity before that, even insane, like that is a savage pace. Tell us then, what was your total Ironman time from start to finish?
Yeah, so the total time was 12 hours and 59. So we were absolutely 12:59:14, exactly what it was. We're just literally just under the 13-hour mark, which where we wanted to be. Our plan was to be between 12 and 13 hours, and we were just shaved inside the 13 hours. So for us, we were delighted with that. To be on the underside, if it was 13 hours something, we would have been a little bit kicking ourselves, but just to be under that 13-hour mark, we were delighted. So 12:59, so we're happy with that.
Oh, massive congrats, lads. That's unbelievable. 12:59.
13-hour shift.
So what did doing an Ironman teach you about yourselves?
Discipline anyway.
Discipline and knowing as well you have a lot more in you than you actually think you do, you know.
Very true.
It taught me a lot that no matter what I do from now on, it's not going to be hard, you know.
Yeah, it does. It's a lot easier. There's barriers that you definitely set in your own head, I think, that you can get over them a lot easier than you think if you just push yourself more.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And what would you say was the hardest part and the most enjoyable part, if you want to bounce off each other?
Of course. So for me, definitely the run was by far the toughest. I absolutely loved the swim and the bike, but the run was just a long, slow, painful. It was tough going. Like even the last 10K, maybe 15K, we were starting to go cold and everything. Our pace for us felt so slow and our heart rate was so low. We were actually 136 wasn't the heart rate. The heart rate was gone very low, and I found we couldn't warm ourselves up. There was we're right on the coast there. There's a coastal breeze coming in, and I was getting colder as from probably the 30K mark onwards. I was getting colder as it was going on. It was starting to get dark, and it was getting a little bit miserable. So for me, definitely the run was the toughest, and the most enjoyable then would have been the swim. I absolutely loved the swim from start to finish. Just so enjoyable. I just tipping through my pace, nice, comfortable pace, not pushing too hard. I remember just smiling to myself in the water, and just everything was just so enjoyable for the swim. The conditions were perfect.
Savage.
Yeah,
What about you, Nigel?
I was probably the complete opposite.
Yeah, pretty much actually.
I know. The run was hard, but it wasn't as bad for me. Like, because Mikey you had them injuries going in, so I didn't find the run too bad. The bike was definitely the worst for me because of that last 40K. And I think as well the swim was most enjoyable because before the Ironman, I could only swim 50 meters in a pool, and then just to know I could go from 50 meters to swim 3.8K and actually enjoy it at a good pace as well. So I was really, really happy with that swim. So yeah, probably the swim was my favorite and the bike least favorite.
We wouldn't have thought a year ago that swim would have been our most favorite event. For me, probably a year and a half ago, and you, for 6 or 8 months ago, that swimming would be our most favorite, considering we never swam before.
I only started swimming when I booked Ironman.
Yeah.
Oh my God, unbelievable. Book it in advance and you find a way. What advice would you give? What advice would you give to anyone considering either, not even doing an Ironman? Maybe their definition of an Ironman is a 10K, it's a half marathon, it's a full marathon, it's a triathlon. But for anyone tipping into that endurance world, what kind of advice would you give to them?
Probably, I'd say mainly we're starting to realize more lately is focus on a lot of that zone 2 running. We're doing especially if it's longer, like if you're the likes of marathon or long distance triathlons, a lot of that zone 2 running we found very beneficial for us. And if you are just getting into it, don't push yourself either. Just start off very gradually and it will come over time, because I even see when I went back home, I had that little bit of a break and I said, right, I'm going to hit the ground running when I get back over here. And I literally tried to pick up from where I left off. And that's where a lot of my injuries came out of. So I'd be definitely saying to anybody, if you are thinking about getting into it and you're very fit, even from another sport, if you play hurling or football and you feel like your fitness is through the roof, just ease into it. It's a different type of fitness, definitely different types of muscles that are getting used. Ease into that, especially hurlers are probably doing a lot of running, but even if you hadn't been doing much cycling, it's very easy into it, increase your miles gradually and build on that from there very gradually, and don't try and hit the ground running like I done.
And so just for any listener who's unaware, can you describe what exactly is zone 2 cardio?
So zone 2 cardio would be like, say if me and Mike went out for a run, and no matter what distance run, even if it's 20 minutes run or an hour 30 run, we could literally talk to each other for the whole run. That's how that's how the level of difficulty it is. We could talk to each other, and then say we push to zone 3, say we could say a sentence, but we struggle to get our breath back for like reference, you know. So yeah, talk the whole way, and it's
enjoyable. Yeah, it should be nice, enjoyable run. Yeah. And that's what we're focused on. Even with our training now, you'll be thinking, oh, I want to get faster. I want to push myself more. I should be going out doing a lot of faster runs. But even with that program that we're doing and a lot of Nigel experience coming from that, we're learning zone 2 training is very, very important. And they're more enjoyable as well. You don't have to push on as hard, which is great.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So just being able to hold a conversation and tell us, so since the Ironman, what's next? What's exciting you now? What kind of training goals do you have?
So now we've already booked our next Ironman. It's a half Ironman. It's in 24th of September. The week before that, then we have the Sydney Half Marathon, and then August 14th we have City to Surf, which is like the biggest fun run in the world in Sydney, and that's 14K. So we've got all the rest of the year booked up. Oh, we've another standard triathlon November 4th. So the whole year is booked up.
We're booked up already. As it is, the training just keeps going, and we have plenty to motivate us, which is absolutely brilliant.
Do you see yourself doing another Ironman again, or are you going to stay within that half distance for now?
So, being honest, for the first week or two after we done the Ironman, we were looking at each other. Even during the run, we said, never again. Never are we doing it. It's too much, never again. I reckon within 2 to 3 weeks afterwards, the thought was kind of there, but we hadn't said it to each other. And we're kind of been speaking it then the last couple of weeks, and 100%. We'll have to do another one.
Next August, I think.
I think so. Yeah, that's the plan. I think next August, thereabouts, we'll be planning on getting in another one, because even we feel we've done it at a pretty good pace overall, but we feel like if we were to do one next year, just with what we have learned from that one is just unbelievable. About paces a bit more, we reckon we could definitely shave 2 hours off it. We'd be reckoning somewhere near the 11-hour mark we'd be able to come in on them. Yeah, definitely.
I just know from when I ran the marathon back in 2018, it was like, you know, you have that, you just have this sole focus on one thing, and it's tunnel vision. But honestly, for a week or two afterwards, I almost didn't know what to do with myself, because it's like, God, what's next now? I never even thought of the aftermath. Did you get any of that kind of post? I guess just that, not even going to call it depression, but almost like just post-event, you've some element of just uncertainty, because so much of your identity and focus for the last 6 months is just on this one day. And then you ask yourself, what's next? Or how did you cope with that if you didn't get it?
Yeah, we definitely did get it. And I know you say like not calling it depression, but I was kind of like a little bit depressed after it. Because you go through all that. It's kind of, I know it's not, it's a form of it, like, but you go through all that training with someone, you know, and then you're with that person every day. Yeah, I remember the week after the race, we came back home to Sydney, and I was busy doing PT, and I came home in the day, and I sat down on the couch, and was like, I've no run to go to, you know. I was like, what do I do now?
Don't have any purpose anymore.
So I remember this. I remember that week I just found a film and just laid down on the couch. I was like, fuck, where do I go now? Yeah. But straight away then we booked Mikey booked a 10K swim. I think it was a month after or something.
Yeah.
And I booked a 5K swim. So that would be my longest swim and his longest swim. So that was a big challenge again straight away. So we had that week of what now, but then we got straight back into it.
Straight up. That 1 week rest. It was more than enough, too much for us, I think. The week's rest, we were kind of scratching, ready to start going again. But like that, then booked up the ocean events. I had the 10K, Nigel had the 5, and straight away then again just had to start improving, pushing on with them longer swims in the pool and up the training there. So there was something already in the go. We were 4 weeks away from the next event, which was great. It just kept us pushed. It was brilliant.
Unbelievable, yeah, because I always recommend people, and you know what, it's something I need to think about more myself. I have a bodybuilding show, my first ever one, coming up this weekend, and I've never
Brilliant.
done this before, so that's been my sole focus now for probably the last. I only booked it 7 weeks ago, but I've been really dialed in for the last 15 weeks. But like that now, like I know what I need to do. I need to bump up my calories. I need to build up my metabolism. I need to increase my weight again. But in terms of like a goal or a specific activity to work towards, I haven't fully decided how I want my training to look. I do know I want to get outside and get more runs in, but I also do need a recovery block. So I was just talking to a guy in this field, and he just said, and I think I'm going to do something similar. To quote, I just had a week or two of dick around time there where I just did what I felt like in the gym or outside the gym, wasn't following any program. And I just think I need that. So
Yeah.
it's not that I'm losing my purpose, that I'm not going to stop training, because for us guys here talking, like, look, training's a big part of who we are. It's part of our day, it's part of our week. We always feel better after doing it than not doing it. But it's just maybe, as you speak about, adjusting the dial. You can go 10 out of 10 preparation for the Ironman, for whatever it is that you have, whatever goal you have in mind. But in terms of just giving the body that chance to rest and recover, there are times where you need to taper things back. And sounds like he had it the week afterwards, and I'll definitely be having it next week also.
Yeah. Definitely, a break is definitely no harm either, because, like you said, you can get caught up in the train and it can kind of take over a little bit. So a little bit of a step back here and there, couple of days out, like you said, whether it's a week or two even, just to get a little bit of a break, you come back hungrier than ever and just more keen to get back at it then again. And that definitely works, we found as well. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Nigel, Mike, I really enjoyed this conversation. Kind of a left field one now from this podcast. We typically speak about fat loss, calorie deficit, strength training, and of course, all of these things are important. But it's amazing too what the body is capable of doing when you put the mind to it. Just before we finish up, have you heard of the Iron Cowboy who ran 50 consecutive Ironmans in
Yeah,
50
I watched the documentary.
consecutive
Yeah,
days in 50
Crazy.
states in the Isn't that just insane?
Unbelievable. How you could
Nigel
do
and Mike,
one
are you going
after
to do
another
that
and
next?
just,
no,
that won't be happening.
I
So,
need 50 hospital visits in 50 states.
Yeah.
oh, that's
It's
next level. Unbelievable. Good on him. Crazy stuff.
oh, what he accomplished though, 12-hour 59 Ironman. Unbelievable stuff. Lads, fair play to you. You must be pretty
Thanks
chuffed.
very much. Thanks very
Thank
much. No,
you.
we are delighted. We're absolutely delighted. Thank you. Thanks for having
And
us.
for all of our listeners out here who want to learn maybe a bit more about training, or just about if they've any questions, where's the best place to send them, Nigel and Mike? Now is the time.
Uh, like questions for us?
Yeah, absolutely. For anyone who is or just wants to learn a bit more about the Ironman, where is the best place to send them?
Yeah, so obviously you can message me on Instagram, Nigel O'Brien, Head of Fitness, my handle there.
I'll
Mike then
post
would
a
be,
link for that. Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely. And my Instagram, just Mike Stevens. Definitely there. If anyone has any questions or anything, we'd be more than happy to help them out. Our head is so in the game now. Anyone throws any questions at us, we're more than happy to answer.
Awesome, awesome. I'll put the links in the show notes for both your IG accounts. And again, lads, thanks so much for hopping on. It's been an absolute
Very
pleasure,
good stuff.
and
Thank
really
you.
enjoyable conversation.
It really
yeah.
was. Thanks very much for
Thanks for
having us
having
on.
us. Yeah.
Thank you.